I want you to imagine a scenario. It's a bit sci-fi, but stay with me.
Okay.
You have a time machine, but it's got some strict, frankly, pretty annoying rules.
Right. You can't go back and buy Bitcoin.
Exactly. No Bitcoin, no stopping yourself from getting those frosted tips in high school. This machine only goes one way, forward.
So we're jumping into the future.
You jump forward, say 40, maybe 50 years. You step out, and you find an older, much grayer version of yourself on a park bench.
And the rules say I can ask them. Well, just one question.
Just one. It's high pressure.
My instinct is to ask, did we make it? Are we happy? Something like that.
See, that's the temptation.
Yeah.
But the most valuable question, the one that actually changes your life right now, is much scarier.
Which is
What did I get wrong?
Oof, that lands heavy. It's terrifying because it implies that right now, today, we are actively getting something wrong and we don't even know it.
Right. And usually we only figure it out when the clocks run out. We live life forward, but we only understand it backward. So for today's deep dive, we're hacking that process.
We're borrowing hindsight.
We're cheating the system. We've combed through these transcripts from a fascinating project called Before It's Too Late.
And this isn't like celebrities or billionaires.
No, not at all. It's raw, unfiltered conversations with everyday people in their 70s and 80s, looking back with just brutal honesty.
And for today, we're focusing on 3 voices. 2 men, both 73, and 1 woman who's 78. That's, over 220 years of lived experience between them.
And the mission is to identify the traps they fell into. We've got the career trap, the perfection trap.
And the relationship trap.
We want to map these out so you can spot them, before you step right into them.
There's actually a term for this in psychology. It's called anticipatory regret.
Sounds kind of negative.
It does, but it's actually a really powerful tool. If you could vividly imagine the regret you might feel, it changes how you make decisions right now.
So we're scaring ourselves straight, basically.
In a way, yeah. We're using their past to fix our future.
Okay, let's jump into the first source. This is the 73-year-old man. He's anonymous, but his story. Man, it's the classic American success story that kind of turns into a horror movie.
He uses this metaphor, that his life was a ladder leaning against the wrong wall.
That's so distinct because it implies effort. He wasn't lazy.
No, that's the tragedy. He wasted his life being hyper-productive. He spent 50 years climbing, checking every single box society handed him.
So paint the picture. What did winning look like for him?
It was perfect on paper. He was a partner at a major law firm. Big house, luxury cars, country club, all of it.
The whole package.
From age 25 to 50. He was just in a state of constant acceleration.
Yeah.
Work, networking, strategizing about work.
He was on autopilot, but then the autopilot crashed. Or rather, his heart did.
Yeah, age 52. This is the pivot. He's at a conference room, and he describes it so vividly. Beige walls, stale coffee.
And they're discussing quarterly projections.
The driest topic imaginable. And he remembers getting genuinely angry because a junior associate used the wrong font size on a slide.
He's spiking his blood pressure over a font.
And then the room just tilts. A massive cardiac event.
Wow.
His heart just quit. He collapses.
Ugh.
And he has this moment. He's lying on the industrial carpet, looking up at the ceiling tiles and thinking, I'm probably dying. Right here.
In a meeting about quarterly projections.
That is a bleak image.
But what struck me wasn't that he was scared of dying. It was what he was scared of leaving.
Exactly. He wakes up in the hospital, cubes everywhere, and the thought that haunts him isn't, I'm going to miss the future. It was, I miss the past.
Meaning?
If he had died on that floor, he would have left behind a very impressive retirement account and a list of achievements that any means nobody would remember in 5 years.
That's the trap. You're executing the tasks, but you're not actually living.
And the engine driving that track is what he calls the someday lie.
I feel this one. I'll take that big trip when the kids graduate. I'll write that book when I retire.
It's the belief that life is something that begins after the work is done. But the goalposts are on wheels. They keep moving.
You get the promotion and you think, okay, now I can relax.
But you can't. Because now you have to get the next promotion to prove you deserve the first one. It never ends.
Or you make the money, but your lifestyle inflates, so now you need more money.
Precisely. He spent 30 years climbing that ladder, convinced the view from the top would be worth it.
And when he finally arrived, made partner, got the corner office, how long did that satisfaction last?
He timed it.
You're kidding.
He says the glow lasted about 48 hours.
2 days for 30 years of grinding.
That's the hedonic treadmill in action. It's a real psychological phenomenon. We are wired to return to a baseline level of happiness incredibly fast.
So you buy the dream car.
And for a week, you're on cloud nine. A month later, it's just your car. It's just the machine you use to sit in traffic.
So are we just doomed to be unsatisfied?
Not unhappy, but we are doomed to adapt. The problem isn't that the satisfaction fades. The problem is what he traded for those 2 days. The cost was permanent.
The regrets.
Yeah, and they're not about losing a client. They're heartbreakingly small.
But the trip to Japan. He bought the guidebooks in his 30s, learned a few phrases.
But he never went. Too busy. The books are still on his shelf.
And his brother. They had a falling out over something trivial. Politics, maybe a loan.
And he just let it sit. He told himself, I'll fix it when things slow down. But relationships don't pause, they decay.
The one that really got me was his father.
Yeah, that one is tough. His dad died when the source was 45. He kept blowing off Sunday dinners to prep for Monday meetings.
And he told himself, I'm doing this for them, I'll make it up to him later.
Then his dad has a heart attack, and later it vanishes.
So his regret was inaction, not doing something bad, but not doing something good.
But here's the turnaround. He survived that heart attack. That was 21 years ago. He got a bonus round.
A second act.
And he claims he has lived more in the last 21 years than in the previous 52 combined.
So what changed? Did he sell everything and move to a yurt?
No, nothing that dramatic. He just stopped waiting. He took a lesser role at the firm. He finally took that trip to Japan.
He went.
Went alone, actually. His wife didn't want to go anymore, but he went anyway. He started prioritizing experiences over assets.
He says he's happier now at 73, with less time left than he was at 30 when he thought he had forever.
Because the scarcity of time is what gives it value. When you realize the supply is limited, the price goes way up.
And he asks that question, the litmus test. If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the life you've lived so far?
And I love that he says, satisfied, not impressed.
Right. Did you eat the meal, or did you just spend the whole time reading the menu?
Damn.
Okay, so that's the trap of achievement. But there's another one here that's sneakier because it doesn't look like ambition. It looks like virtue.
This brings us to our second source. The 78-year-old woman, let's call this the identity trap, or maybe the empty cup.
Her story feels so different. He was obsessed with doing. She was obsessed with being what everyone else needed her to be.
For 60 years, she tried to be the perfect woman, perfect wife, perfect mother, dutiful daughter. She basically erased herself to support everyone else.
And I know there's a generational thing here. She's 78. But this people-pleaser trap, that's timeless.
Oh, absolutely. It's called identity foreclosure. You adopt the identity society hands you, the caregiver, the reliable one, and you never ask if it actually fits. She thought self-sacrifice was noble.
Until the catalyst, for her, it wasn't a heart attack, it was a loss.
Her husband, married 42 years, he passes away. And she says something so raw. She says her primary emotion wasn't grief, it was terror.
Terror. Why?
Because she looked in the mirror a week after the funeral and didn't know who was looking back. She'd been Bob's wife or the kid's mom for so long that without them, she was a ghost in her own life.
She had outsourced her identity.
And her timeline is it's a masterclass in the pattern of waiting.
Let's trace it.
Okay, 35. She wants to go back to school. Literature, teaching. Her husband says, can't afford it right now, maybe later. So she waits.
Then the kids leave. Empty nest. Okay, my turn.
But then her husband retires and his parents get sick. The duty trap. So she waits.
Then, at 55, her daughter gets divorced, needs help with the grandkids.
She steps in. She waits.
Oh.
And finally, at 71, her husband dies. And she has this moment in her kitchen where she realizes there's no one left to wait for.
Everyone she was sacrificing for is either gone or grown.
And then comes the moment that turns everything. She's cleaning out the attic.
The letter. This part gave me chills.
She finds a box, and inside is a letter her husband wrote her when they were dating, back in the 60s.
Before everything. Before the roles were set.
And that's the kicker.
Yeah.
He wasn't writing about what a good cook she was. He was raving about her mind.
Oh, wow.
He wrote about her curiosity, her wild ideas. He said, I can't wait to see what you accomplish.
That must have been devastating to read at 72. To realize the person you were trying to please actually fell in love with the version of you that you suppressed.
She said she just sat on the attic floor and wept. Because she had buried that girl, the fiery intellectual girl, to become good wife she thought he wanted.
She played a role for 40 years that nobody actually asked her to play. That is so heavy.
It's the assumption of expectation. We assume people want us to be small and manageable. but we never ask.
But she didn't stay on the floor. This is the reclamation.
At 72, she finally stopped waiting. Enrolled in community college, literature, art history, philosophy. She just went for it.
And I think the most punk rock thing she did was learn to say no.
The hardest word for a people pleaser. She started telling her kids, no, I can't watch the grandkids this weekend. I have a seminar.
And did her family disown her?
No, they adjusted. In fact, she says their relationship improved because she wasn't secretly resentful anymore.
She wasn't serving them a side of guilt with every favor.
Exactly. She says she's only really lived for herself for 6 years, from 72 to 78. But she calls them the best years of her life.
Permission never comes. That's the quote that stuck with me.
That's the takeaway. No one is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, okay, you've sacrificed enough. Here is your permit to be happy. You have to take it.
So we've covered career and perfection. Now, the one that I think destroys more happiness than anything, the relationship trap.
This comes from our third source, Peter. He's 73. And his story is about what he calls denying neglect.
See, we always think of relationship regrets as these big explosions, the affair, the screaming matches.
Right, the drama. But Peter shows us that relationships don't usually die from explosions. They die in silence. 1,000 quaint cuts.
He was married to Susan for 41 years.
A lifetime. And then she gets diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. 4 months later, she's gone. It was incredibly fast.
And in those final months, Susan said something that it shattered his perception of their entire marriage.
She looked at him and said, Peter, we wasted so much time being right instead of being close.
Being right instead of being close? Wow. What does that actually look like on a day-to-day basis?
It means operating as roommates who share tax return. Peter admits he had what I'd call the good husband fallacy. He met the minimum specs.
Minimum specs?
Yeah, he provided. He didn't cheat. He didn't abuse her. He was physically present in the house every night.
It was reliable furniture.
Exactly. He realized comfortable, it's just a polite word for complacent. Susan would suggest things. Let's take a pottery class. Let's go dancing. Let's go to Scotland.
And Peter was always the voice of reason.
It's too expensive. I'm too tired. We'll do it next year.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to be a villain. He just thought, again, they had time. He thought the goal was stability.
But Susan wanted connection.
The result was that Susan stopped asking. And this is the danger zone. I want everyone listening to hear this. When your partner stops complaining, it's not because they're finally happy. It's because they've given up.
They started living parallel lives under the same roof.
The real epiphany for him came on her deathbed. They were talking about that Scotland trip. He asked her, filled with guilt, why didn't you push harder? Why didn't you make me go?
And her response.
Her response is something every partner needs to tattoo on their brain. She said, I didn't want to make you do something you didn't want to do. I wanted you to want to do it with me.
Whoa. Okay, let's pause there. That distinction is everything.
It is. It's not about Scotland. It's about enthusiasm. It's about being chosen. He found her journals after she died and realized he'd been living with a stranger.
Because he stopped being curious.
Curiosity is the fuel of love. If you think you know everything about your partner, you are not paying attention.
Okay, so when we pull back and look at these three lives, the executive, the perfect wife, the comfortable husband, what are the connecting threads?
The most obvious one is the illusion of time. All three lived as if they had an infinite supply of laters.
And the reality check is that later is a gamble. It's an unsecured loan you might not get approved for.
Exactly. And connected to that is the idea of permission. The executive was waiting for permission to step off the treadmill. Peter was waiting for a crisis to be vulnerable.
And the lesson is you have to grant that permission to yourself.
And finally, they're all calling for a redefinition of success.
It's like the definition completely inverted for them as they got older.
Totally flipped. For the career man, success shifted from the title on his business card to the quality of his Tuesday afternoon. For the widow, from external validation to internal peace.
And for Peter, success is connection. It's not letting comfortable become the enemy of close.
It's about engagement.
Okay, so if you're listening to this and feeling a little panic, that tightness in your chest, that's actually a good thing.
That means the time machine is working. That's the anticipatory regret kicking in.
But we don't want to leave you there. What can you do with that energy today?
We can apply the satisfied test immediately. Tonight, look in the mirror and ask, if it ends tomorrow, am I satisfied?
And if the answer is no, don't panic. Just pivot.
Right. Actionable advice number 1. Break the pattern of waiting. If you have a someday project, start it now. even a micro version.
If you can't go to Japan for a month, find a Japanese cooking class in your city.
Just prove to yourself you are not waiting.
Number 2, from our 78-year-old, audit your obligations.
No, this is huge. Look at your calendar for next week. How many things are on there out of guilt or habit? Start saying no. Your time is the only non-renewable resource you have. Protect it.
And number 3, for the Peters out there, for anyone in a relationship that feels a little too comfortable.
Resurrect curiosity. Tonight, ask your partner a question that isn't logistical. Ask them, what's something you've always wanted to try, but were afraid I'd say no to?
And this is the hard part, shut up and listen.
And maybe, just maybe, be the one to suggest the pottery class. Even if you're tired, do it for the connection, not the activity.
These sources gave us a gift. They paid the price of regret so we don't have to.
The overwhelming message from all 200 years of their combined experience is simple. Your life is not a practice run. This isn't a dress rehearsal. The curtain is already up.
Someday is today.
Make it count.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.